if they are fighting publicly about accuracy of figures and things, how does that impinge on the potential trial?
Not even the trial, the investigation. Because they are still investigating the matter. Even though they've charged some persons.
8 people.
8 people. The investigation is still continuing. And investigations don't close even after conviction. Because if they come into new evidence, they can reopen. So that is why investigative journalists and people who have invested in uncovering corruption in a country have to at all times be prepared to cooperate.
And also be given deference.
With the investigative institutions or with the institutions, state institutions that have been set up. Jurisdictions. These investigative journalists need not investigate if they come into some person.
How does that impinge on the potential trial?
Not even the trial, the investigation. Because they are still investigating the matter. Even though they've charged some persons.
8 people.
8 people. The investigation is still continuing. And investigations don't close even after conviction. Because if they come into new evidence, they can reopen. So that is why investigative journalists and people who have invested in uncovering corruption in a country have to at all times be prepared to cooperate.
And also be given deference.
With the investigative institutions or with the institutions, state institutions that have been set up to deal with the matters in which they have invested. They need to be that collaboration. In fact, in some jurisdictions, these investigative journalists need not tell you that they have sent their report or what they have uncovered to the state agency. Because they are also interested in protecting themselves. Okay, so, I mean, there are many, because...
That's why we have the Witness Protection Act.
Witness Protection Act is when even that investigator is prepared to come forward as a witness. And there's fear that harm can come to him. So he comes under the Witness Protection Act.
I have led Manasseh to the court before on criminal issues, and I know how sometimes we have to get a judge to agree to smuggle him through a process because you definitely become a target. And these stories, they end up collapsing, big enterprises, but the investigative journalists who did the story should not sit idly by when the prosecutor is doing things that they suspect will botch the trial.
Exactly. Yes, I agree entirely with you. That's why he's invested the time and effort. Yes. It is not the institution that gave him money to embark on the investigation in the first place. So he's a public-spirited person who thinks that he must help the state in a way as to ensure that we don't dissipate our resources in ways that don't bring us benefit. So he invested his private resources. So the least state agencies can do is to collaborate with them. I agree with you.
And give them deference.
I agree. And even the exposing himself to that level of danger and risk requires that anybody working with an investigative journalist must accord him to a level of deference and appreciation for his work. So I'd have no problem with Manasseh. I think that the approach of the Special Prosecutor should be that these are partners.
Yes.
These are collaborators. These are persons we necessarily have to work with. In fact, these are stakeholders.
That's what the OSC has been doing.
No, you understand. So that is the way they should approach the issue. And it's a stakeholder. First, they are citizens of this country. So they have a general interest in ensuring that this country is run well and that people do not fleece the resources of this country. Two, they have a specific interest because they have been trained. And when they see corruption, they want to fight it. Okay? Yeah. And so you must accord them that kind of recognition. You must cooperate with them.
Kofi says deference.
Deference.
That's a high level of respect.
Respect. So that they can, because many things go. Can you imagine, sometimes we come into evidence of some impropriety But you ask yourself whether you can boldly claim to be the person who is making that information available. Sometimes, so it requires courage, conviction, and purposefulness to be able to openly admit that I'm the person who has done this.
And sorry, even a wide latitude for mistake. Because you are not God. You are investigating and you see in part. So you see, it's very sad that you have people like Manasseh who put themselves physically at
in harm's way.
And then you end up arguing with them.
You don't have to argue with them.
No.
Okay, so they can argue privately, but not
privately.
Yes.
Why do you think they are arguing publicly?
Because the private arguments have broken down. And I think there's a difference there.
No,
okay,
they're arguing privately because...
Let me just add.
No, they're arguing privately because they appear to be some fight for theft and recognition.
Thank you.
That's why they are arguing publicly.
Fight for theft and
recognition. Who is the person who uncovered this thing?
I disagree.
No. In fact, at the root of the whole thing, the discussion.
When the SP did the report, he acknowledged the 3 journalists. Yes. Manasseh, Adobia, and...
So he acknowledged them, but he didn't acknowledge them in a way that satisfied the journalists.
Oh, you think that's what the problem...
I think that's...
Just a quick one.
Okay, hold on. Manasseh is right here.
No, okay.
Manasseh.
I don't think...
I'm not denying you. He's put his hand up many times. No, hold on.
It's okay.
Manasseh,
fear and
is lack of proper recognition a problem